guys are finally in The Sims 4, and you know what that means. It's time for another review. What's up, boo? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. And if you're new to my channel, welcome to the dark side. Because thanks to the EA Creator Network, I got my hands on an early build of The Sims 4 Enchanted by Nature. I'm gonna be going through a creative sim, build by gameplay, and giving you my final thoughts all in this video. Just a few disclaimers. I was not paid for this review. If you plan on getting this pack now or in the future, use Troi at checkout in the EA app. This supports me with a small commission of each sale and no additional cost to you. Number two, this is my opinion. The footage you're about to see is from an early build of the game, but let's go ahead and just jump right in. Alright, start off with Creative Sim. We got some new traits of Mystical and Plant Lover, along with 3 new aspirations of Fairy Stories, Nature Nomad, and Elixir Enthusiast, which I was surprised about. The traits are kind of standard. They give new interactions. Plant Lovers gives you a buff that if you don't talk to plants, you become uncomfortable or feel guilty when picking from the garden. Kind of annoying because I need to pick my plants if I want to make money, so we had to get over that. Other than occasionally using the interactions that come with the traits, I kind of forgot about them during my playthrough. You can give blessings with Mystical and tell certain plants that you're your favorite, but me personally, I'm not a plant person. I kill 2 live plants in game and an aloe vera plant in real life. However, you may love it surrounded by all your plants, talking to them, taking care of them. You can be in plant heaven with this. The aspirations fit in with the theme of the pack. Each one ties into either one of the new skills of Apothecary or Natural Living. However, they are standard aspirations. You complete objectives for each tier and then gain a reward. Now, the clothes of the pack, I'm a bit 50-50. We do get a mix between full body shirts, pants, skirts, some shoes, and even hoops for multiple ages and body type. There's new hairs, and if you choose to become a fairy, the ability to customize your wings is in cast. You just click on them. I was surprised with the amount of wing styles. The UI is similar to doing tattoos or customizing animals if you do have that pack, and depending on the vibe you want, you can mix and match and make the fae that you always wanted. While I love the fairy clothing, all the sparkles and the vibrant colors, the regular clothing wasn't really my cup of tea, and that's fine. Somebody will love this. The style of the clothing does match the overall theme of the pack, was this Celtic. I know I'm butchering that. I'm so sorry. So you will find patterns and styles related to that throughout. Now, y'all know I'm not the best builder, but we're talking build by in this next segment. So we get new bedding, toilet, shower, a lot of the standard items for an expansion pack. There's a new dollhouse, fireplace, wall shelf, windows, wallpapers, and flooring, some fencing, columns, a new 2-piece dresser, hanger where you have to place the clothes on the rack for it to be functional, and more. The main focus are the functional objects, at least in my opinion. The book press allows you to make candles and wall art. No skill needed, but you do need ingredients. Selling them for a decent price depends on what it is. The apothecary table allows them to cook up remedies for the new ailment system. When it comes to making things on the table, I suggest you make a garden because y'all know prices are high in The Sims. A piece of spinach is like 35 simoleons. That's high. Y'all think inflation is high. In real life, it's high in The Sims. If you're a fairy, then you have the ability to use the new fairy house. You can take a shower, replenish your emotional force, aka your powers, and even throw a rave with other fairies. Sadly, you can't have a cover charge. You'll see the new pots with the live in plant. There's a lot of standard items that come with expansions, all in the same theme of the, I want to say it's Celtic. I think it's a hard C, Celtic style, and of course the woodland style that fits with the fairies. Even though they aren't available in the build by catalog, you can gain some of the items like the tree that spruce comes out of or the giant fairy teleporter in the fairy neighborhood. You get those from Fables as rewards. Now, this expansion pack niche heavy, so if you aren't really in a woodland fairy, then a lot of these will be out of place in your everyday builds. However, for those of you who are just overjoyed with this theme, then you gonna have a good time. But enough about that. Let's move on to my favorite part, the world of NS Green, which is a 14 lot with a nice 64 by 64. Builders rejoice. Modeled after the coast of Ireland and Celtic culture, we have 3 neighborhoods, which is the standard. You can really see the world formula The Sims is using at this point, and I think it's hurting them. Each area has its own vibe. The fairies have their own section, which comes with a few lots, a town hall that is a rabbit hole, and a sentient lake that you can bathe in, or ball up its emotions after you ask it what's wrong, and then it tells you, and then you regret asking. I'm disappointed that the fairies don't have their own pocket dimension like the spellcasters. I feel like they should should have been a bit detached. Even though they are connected to the world personally, I feel like they should be a little bit more hidden. The harbor town has a few monuments like the giant gnome and shipwreck, along with the pie stall and fisherman shack that is functional. You can buy fish from. Of course, it's just the UI. Then the last neighborhood is a little bit more woodland. You can talk to spruce at the tree, what is giving me the great tree from Legend of Zelda, a peculiar fairy ring, which I know not to touch, thank you to Doctor Who, and a used bookshop which you can buy and donate books. This is also just a UI based flower shop where you can buy seeds and live plants from, again UI based, as well as Apothecary is where you can buy and sell your remedies and elixirs. He's cheap. I just want you to know that I made 3 million simoleons just using my fairy abilities and gardening. The world is lush and vibrant, and I don't usually have anything negative to say about the world building because the team always does an A+ job. However, like I mentioned earlier, the skeleton structure of Sims 4 Worlds is showing. I don't know if it's just me because I do love worlds more than anything, or it's because I do have all the packs with the worlds and I'm noticing it more. I feel like at this point the worlds aren't lively and there's very little to do, which you can say for a lot of the recent worlds. After I saw and visited what I could, I spent majority of my time gardening. I turned my game into a farming simulator as a fairy and just used my powers to grow my plants, along with Doodle the gnome. Shout out to Doodle. Yes, you can travel between worlds in the Sims 4, which is something you couldn't do in previous installments, but once you take away the theme and the colors, they are all the same underneath. I've said this multiple times in many reviews, but the worlds need an overhaul. I wonder if this is a result of how they must be constructed for both PC and console and to work on lower end machines. I'm not a developer though, so I'm just spitballing here. It is a quaint town. The Simmers who helped with the lots did a great job, but once you get rid of the glitz, the glam, the fairy dust, a majority of stuff is either deco, a lot of open spaces. The spaces look big, they are closed off, and as many as DLC that The Sims has, and after learning that The Sims will be the main game moving forward, not a lot of people can afford to have all the packs. I think it's over $1,200 to own the entire collection of The Sims 4, even with the base game being free, and because of that, not everyone will have every pack, but the worlds need to be able to stand on their own and not rely on other worlds to keep people busy. The question is, are the current Sims 4 worlds standing on their own? As an expansion pack, there must be a gameplay and it has to be the main focus. I didn't make the rules, that's just how it is. Now, of course, the main thing of Enchanted by Nature is the fairies, and for those of you who wanted fairies, buckle up because you got fairies. If you didn't make a fairy in cast, that you went through the transformation route, fairies and plant sims can be seen all over in a screen. To become a fairy, you don't need a good relationship, just ask for the fairy seed and go plant it, and Mother Nature, the queen that she is, will appear. Hey, there's some weird looking potion. I think I should let you know not to drink strange elixirs from strangers, but it's Mother Nature, so what's the worst that can happen? Then for a limited time, you must go visit the lake in the fairy neighborhood. Here you will instantly become a fairy. I thought it was a little too easy to become a fairy. The fairies should really not give out their secrets this quickly. You gained your wings. Honestly, if you don't start singing the 4Kids TV Wings Club intro, I know they're different, the same thing applies. I'm gonna need you to like redo the whole process. You're giving your basics and a notification. You have emotional force now, which you use to perform your fairy abilities. You no longer have a bladder, which honestly is a win, and you unlock the fairy ability tree. I was actually blown away with the amount on the tree. There are 4 new categories and the same amount of fairy tiers you need to level up from other cults. You choose abilities between interactions, passive, and gardening. I naturally chose gardening at first because there is a plant explosion perk where you can instantly grow plants. You can also duplicate plants and it will give you 4 more. Fairies can cure ailments, and I mentioned ailments earlier. Infection your sims can go through. They'll be represented visually on your sims, and of course you will have a buff that will affect your mood. There are quite a bit of ailments you can choose from. Fairies can cure them using their powers, or you can use it with the Apothecary skill, drinking the elixirs. There are some generic fairy abilities that other cults have, like detecting interests or traits. I won't give too much away, but don't forget you can gain all the abilities except for the last category. You choose one or the other as you move up the tree. Fairies can hide their wings and instantly teleport places around the lot or wherever you are, and they also hover around when they're traveling. If you use your abilities in the harbor town, you'll get a warning from the council, which I have to replenish, but I guess I could use the fairy tree. Woohoo in the sky shrinks you and your partner of the evening, morning, brunch, whenever. And if you overload on replenishing your emotional force from other sims, cause your sims to die basically. You can drain any sim that you want. Their mood does depend on if you can or not. I found replenishing via the fairy house was easier, plus sims start out not liking that, but you can use a perk. There are fairy kids. I try to have a child with a regular sim and a fairy. Only the fairy parent gave me the high fae lineage trait on the child. They also show signs of their powers with uncontrollable emotions. You'll have to soothe them once a day or they will go and break things around a lot, which honestly that got really annoying. point. Once they reach teen, then all the fairy perks unlock, like their wings, emotional force gauge, and talent tree. Pregnant fairies will hold their stomach and float around. Truthfully, the Sims did a really good job with the fairies. I just need them to go back and show the aliens and vampires some love. For those of you playing plant sims, you can interact with them, become a plant sim, do a lot more with plant sims with this pack. I didn't spend much time with them, but I did see them all around. Fables, aka quests, are in this pack that unlock lore and objects. You can find out who will give you a fable from the notice board in each neighborhood, or when talking to certain townies, the option will be available. The UI is similar to the odd jobs, and there really isn't anything else special about it besides what you get and what you learn. If you are a big person on the lore, then Fables will keep you busy. The natural living skill is another core feature of this pack. You can forage for apothecary items, food, and other objects once your skill is high, sleep on the ground, bathe in open water, and more. The cool thing is that your Sims will either hate it or be uncomfortable when they first start out. Naturally, who really can sleep outside on the ground their first time and like love it? As the skill progresses, your Sim gets more comfortable and will even be able to eat frogs whole along with fish. Sims other than fairies can summon a privacy bush for bladder. I do want to say that this isn't the first time we've seen this mechanic. The werewolf is having something similar and can also forage on the beach in Sulani for things. However, the skill is perfect for those who are doing rags to riches or off the grid or any other challenge that wants you to start from the bottom and work your way up. So go and have fun. Now, during the gameplay trailer, you may have missed it or you actually saw it, but fairies dropped dust. Fairy dust is a new item used for various magical things in the pack, and yes, they do give you a lot of dust after woohooing. First dust can be acquired by fairies bathing, shaking the fairy house, or asking other fairies. Use it to bring gnomes to life, teleport on the giant stone, and other various things dealing with gardening. If you have cow plants or any other plants, you can enchant them using fairy dust, and you won't have to take care of them as much for a few days. And speaking of plants, live house plants are in this pack. I kind of mentioned it in build by, but if you ever wanted to have plants indoors where you can take care of them like your little succulents, then your prayers have been answered. Just grab one of the small plant pots and choose between various plant types. You will need to take care of them. I killed 2. I'm not lying. I killed 2 of those plants. I mentioned this throughout already, but the gnomes got an update. Why? I don't know, but they can come back to life now, and you can choose for them to do something for you. So either gardening, which will give you seeds, have them clean up and repair or protect you from other evil gnomes, and the Grown Reaper. The garden gnome for gardening is a cheat. They will go around and just do everything for you except for harvesting, which why not? I did get attacked by some evil gnomes. I was scared for my life when they surrounded me, but you know what? It was my fault because I did kick it. I should have learned my lesson, but I thought he wasn't gonna do nothing. He called his friends. If you didn't see the Simology panel, it has 2 new subcategories, which yay, it got longer. Yay. Luck, which is like a background system where Sims with good luck will easily find items and simoleons. Of course, if you got bad luck, then that will have a major effect on your Sims' lives. And there is balance and imbalance, which is basically a more intuitive mood system. This is supposed to affect how your Sims behave a bit. My balance stayed consistent the entire time I played. I think if I added other packs, I could see a difference. The luck gave me little notifications when I found something, and it was cause of my good luck. Other than that, I didn't pay much attention to it. It was just there. And lastly, which is the new career. I honestly loved how they did this career. The natural path is a hybrid of rabbit hole, work from home, and allows you to see clients. Think the town's apothecary with a traditional system. Random towns will show up with various ailments, and you essentially run a diagnostic on them. This really ties into the aspiration and the skill. I would like to see more of these hybrid careers in the future going forward. And honestly, it was my second favorite feature of the pack. The first being the fairies, second being the career, and third being the apothecary skill, fourth being the additions of the gnome for gardening, and that's just because I just really hate the gnomes. Other than the issues I pointed out, Enchanted by Nature is a decent pack. The main focus, which are the fairies, were done well. Will I be a fairy to float around and just use my powers for evil? Of course. I didn't get a chance to do that in this playthrough, but you best believe we will be doing some evil fairy gameplay. Like I said before, this is just my opinion. You can see one feature that you want, and that is enough for you to go about it. You can see multiple. You could see no features, and that is completely fine. I do think that compared to expansions when they first came out, The Sims is doing so much better. They are fleshing out the main systems, and that's great. Like always, if you got the coins to spare, get it. If you want to wait for a sale, do it. No matter what you choose, it's your game, your money, and what you want to do. Don't let me change that. And if you made it to the end of this video, drop a fairy emoji in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye, boo.